Hi, my name is Chelsea Bolles, and this is the making of the song Crossroad, which is the second song on my new EP, Pete's Candy Store Open Mic Sessions. So Crossroad was actually a collaborative effort between my longtime friend and collaborator, Julia Marie Black, and myself. So Julia's an amazing writer. She does a lot of poetry, she's a playwright, she's overall just a creative artist and an amazing person to have in your life. And she had written these lyrics, and she knew that I, have been writing music. And so she sent them to me and was like, hey, I have these lyrics. I feel like they'd be a good fit for you. If you want to do something with them, if you want to make them into a song, full force, go at it. And it was one of those scenarios where I was pretty quickly struck with inspiration. Sometimes I'll have an idea for a song or a couple of words or a little bit of a melody, and I'll record it and I'll completely forget about it and I'll come back to it later, or where it'll take me a lot of time to work out because something about it just isn't working. But I feel like a huge barrier was removed for me by having Julia write the lyrics. So I was able to be free and open to figuring out the melody. So this was a scenario where I actually figured out the melody to about 3/4 of the song, just like that. I pulled out my phone and I started recording a voice memo, and I just kind of felt it out. And I think the first time I recorded it through was with for the first verse, was with the melody that we're using now, which is, every night I fantasize about chopping off my hair. And I think later I might have switched up some notes a little bit, but then when I listened back to it, I was like, oh, I like that, I'm gonna use that. And it's actually a pretty simple melody if you think about it, because the chorus is just an octave higher than the verse. So we have every na da 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 da, and the chorus is da 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 da. Maybe like a couple of rhythmic variances here and there, but it's basically the same exact melody, just an octave higher. I came up with everything except for the bridge in that moment, and I sent it to her, and she was like, this is really cool. And then I forgot about it for an entire year. Or rather, maybe I didn't forget about it, but I couldn't figure out that bridge, and it just felt like too big of a task at the time. So I took a long, hard break from it. Did I intend for it to be a year? No. But was it a year? Yes. And then about a year from that time, I started thinking back on that song, and I was like, that I remember being really cool. I liked the lyrics. The melody came simply. If I can just figure out the bridge and the chords that I'm going to play with this song, like, it's done. It's almost done. What am I waiting for? I ended up figuring out the chords first. It's an A to B minor to D. Pretty simple. There's an occasional E in there, an occasional G, which came later, but the main, 3 chords are A, B minor, and D. But it was figuring out those chords that allowed me to have the freedom to figure out the bridge, because then I was like, what are some variations I can do in this key amongst the chord progression? And then finally the rest of the song came out, and I was like, yes, this song is done, this song is done. So I recorded a new voice memo of me singing the whole thing through, and I sent it to Julia, and I was like, if I still have your blessing to use this, I would love to. And she was like, oh my god, yes, it sounds great, do it. So the content of Crossroad, the way that Julia likes to explain these lyrics is that a lot of you can relate being at a moment in your life where you're like, maybe if I cut my bangs, I'll feel better. Maybe if I dye my hair, the pain won't hurt so much. This can be after a breakup, this can be after any type of moment in your life. That is kind of the heart of where this song came from. I think what's really beautiful about music, about art in general, is that the listener, the viewer, what have you, the person enjoying said art, gets to have their own interpretation of it. Like I said, that's the beautiful thing about art. That's also a really fickle thing about art, because its original intention can be skewed. And even me, the person who sings this song, I have my own interpretation of the lyrics too. I think a lot about the aesthetic culture that we live in. We are constantly fed these different aesthetics and cores, like cottagecore, like fairycore, online, trying to dictate what our personality is and what our life should look like based on that. It's all consumerist, right? It's all a ploy to get you to buy more crap. It can be exhausting sometimes, and especially me, I'm a Libra. I can't make up my damn mind about anything, so I'm like, ooh, I like that, I like that, I like that, I like that. I want all the things, right? And the line, like, everything online says pick a damn aesthetic. I'm like, yeah, I feel that. I think where Julia and I marry in the center for what these lyrics mean is being at a crossroad. Julia said that she felt like she was at a crossroad in her life, and then when she was driving the back roads in her hometown, she literally came to a road that was called Crossroad. And she was like, well, if this isn't really on the nose. And I know that feeling when you're at a crossroad in your life and you're trying to decide what the best decision to make would be. I love this song. I just think it's so cool and there's so many layers to it. A huge songwriting influence for me is Olivia Rodrigo. Her first album, Sour, is what really inspired me to start writing my own music again, because I'd written a couple songs as a kid that of course I never shared with anybody, except for maybe like a friend once who told me like, that's cute, and then I never wrote songs ever again. Until 2021! Yeah, Olivia Rodrigo was a huge inspiration to me. I loved her style and how it was like this new take on modern day pop that was a little bit grungier, punkier. I just think that she's really cool. And this song, when you listen to it, you're gonna hear how some musical influences are Good For You, Love Is Embarrassing, Ballad of a Homeschool Girl, Obsessed. It's all in that type of sub-pop genre. Yeah, I just think Olivia is so cool, and if I could even be considered among the artists who are like her, that would be a huge success in my life. My new EP, Pete's Candy Store Open Mic Sessions, will be out on February 21st, 2025.